All right, folks, welcome back to the Black Star Network. So, Donald Trump really does love him some Hitler. Often is talked about them. Okay, now guess what? He's now taken down a video that was posted on his Truth Social account that included a reference to a unified Reich after President Joe Biden's campaign and others criticized use of language often associated with the Nazi regime. Here's a 30-second video that was posted on Monday.
What happens after Donald Trump wins? What's next for America? The economy booms. American energy is unleashed and an end to crushing taxes. The border is closed and the largest deportation in history is underway. No more wars as we focus on home. Law and order is restored. The American dream is back and the best is yet to come. Make America great again.
Love him some Nazi references. Well, Vice President Kamala Harris has something to say about this.
Extremists are trying to divide our nation. And we see them as they encourage xenophobia and hate. Just yesterday, the former president of the United States. This kind of rhetoric is unsurprising coming from the former president, and it is appalling. And we got to tell him who we are. And once again, it shows our freedoms and our very democracy are at stake. In the face of these attacks, let us remind each other of our collective power. Let us continue to stand against those who dare to attack our freedoms. And let us continue to fight to make real the promise of America.
So this has been talked about, and on The View, Alyssa Farah Griffin, who actually used to work for Trump, talked about this and said how she also was appalled. Watch this.
It doesn't impact millions of Americans the way somebody calling for a third Reich or saying immigrants poison the blood of America in this rhetoric he's using does. So we always have to be ready to call it out. And I just took a little bit of issue. So the throwing the staffer under the bus, and then they tried to claim it was stock footage of a newspaper. So I watched the ad a couple of times. They specifically selected lines about Trump. Trump wins by a landslide, make America great again, largest deportation program in history. And then they chose this. So they want me to believe they chose all of those lines specifically, but that one just somehow snuck in there. It just doesn't even make sense. It's not like he's saying the quiet part out loud. He's shouting it. Yeah. It doesn't impact millions of Americans.
And that's the deal, Niambi, he's shouting it. And so believe him. And for all of these people who keep acting like, oh, this is no big deal. You know, when you have idiots like Amber Rose out there, when you have Waka Flocka Flame supporting Trump, when the Cardi B's of the world say, oh, I can't stand both, so therefore I'm not voting. Okay, I'm trying to tell all you fools, if that pathetic orangutan gets back into the White House, trust me, they are going to be executing an agenda that is beyond shameful.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think this is the problem, especially with people who are exceedingly wealthy, as some of the people you talked about. I mean, they can withstand maybe some of this. They have the money to flee, to move elsewhere, to do other things, even maybe stay in the country and live through what Donald Trump has promised will be an authoritarian regime. I mean, he said, I want to be an authoritarian for a little bit. I mean, he was one when he was president the first time. He will certainly be worse this time. He's trying to get revenge. And what he was doing was essentially putting this ad out there to see what Americans would tolerate, to see how far he could push them. This was not some sort of guffaw. This was not some insincere or tepid effort on his part. This is exactly what he believes. He believes America belongs to white men in particular. He believes that only wealthy people should have rights in this country. I think that's something that many of his followers need to get in their heads. He has no respect for people who do not have money. He has even less respect for white people with no money. This man is going to be a danger and a threat on every single level. The people that he surrounded himself with these, the Roger Stones and the Steve Bannons of the world, they've gone nowhere, right? So he is going to be even more of a problem, and that's putting it mildly, should he win again, particularly with the particular idea that presidents can't be prosecuted for anything.
Yep.
So God knows what he may do.
Mustafa, when you look at what this thug said to Big Oil, go to my iPad, he actually met with oil executives and said to them, hey, if y'all give my campaign $1 billion, I'm getting rid of everything. I'm getting rid of electric vehicles, wind energy, everything. I'm going to give fossil fuel industry whatever they want. That's the kind of person we're dealing with here.
Yeah, Trump is in favor of genocide. And let me clarify what I mean, because I know when you use that word, it can raise lots of different flags. We understand that the fossil fuel industry actually kills people. We know that over 350,000 people died last year by the burning of fossil fuels. So if there was a President Trump who was able to do the things that he's saying, then we know that there's a huge amount of people who are going to lose their life prematurely. Then when we unpack that, we know that as black and brown folks are the ones that are disproportionately dying inside of that larger number that I just mentioned. So if you want to protect the lives of your grandmothers and your nieces and nephews and your children, then you might want to find someone to vote for who actually is not going to give the fossil fuel industry the ability to run amok and do whatever they want. So just like Hitler annihilated and had atrocities, Trump is also setting up a paradigm to do very similar things. So we need to be very mindful of how we utilize our vote and who we give it to, and stop just listening to these bumper sticker slogans that people have out there of why you shouldn't vote. You should be analyzing why you should vote. And the number one thing that should be tied to your vote is actually protecting people's lives and helping folks to be in a better place. But again, we live in a democracy, and you get to do whatever you want to do, whether you want to vote or not vote, or to continue to share misinformation about the records of individuals. If somebody's falling short, push them, get engaged. If you don't do that, then I don't think you have a whole lot to talk about if you're not holding people accountable and making sure that they know what your expectations are. Your expectations can't just be from the sidelines based upon something you heard. It should be based on real research, and then also bringing solutions forward about how we improve the lives inside of our communities.
Larry, what we're seeing here is the language. Look, he's clear. The language he's using, they are appealing to racists. They're appealing to white supremacists. You see them floating. Oh, his attorney general could be that idiot out of Texas, Ken Paxton. And so this thug plans on loading up this administration with more thugs, the more Stephen Millers, the more white nationalists, white supremacists, and those are just facts.
Yeah, he wants an ethno state, and you can't be as clear as any. And listen, Roland, this country is dancing on the head of a needle, and if we're not really careful in the next couple of months, it is going to go downhill as fast as possible. He's already talked about whether the comments are poison in blood. Let's remember what happened in Charlottesville when he said, when the white supremacists rally, he said there were good people on both sides. So this kind of language and rhetoric is consistent with what they're doing. The other thing is, I've never seen, and I worked on political campaigns, I've never seen a campaign propose harmful laws and people swallow it like if he becomes president, everything's going to be okay. And one of the phrases I describe in terms of what, you talk about Bannon and some of these other folks, what Trump wants is he wants Jim Crow remix. And as black folks, if you're watching this show, you do not want to mess around and find out in November and then January, whoever's sworn the president of the United States, because he's talking about creating concentration camps, mass deportation, using the military to deport some of these people, some of the people who are watching, to people that you care about and love. But in addition to that, also using the military when individuals are protesting. So you may have military individuals in the U.S. military who will make a decision whether they should shoot individuals who live in their community. And that's what it's going to come down to. And once again, Americans need to be very aware that he's telegraphing exactly what he's going to do in terms of repressive policies. And we won't be a democracy anymore. We'll be a totalitarian society, and things will go downhill as quickly as you can imagine.
I wanted the people of Baltimore to hear it from me. I have done nothing wrong.
But I see that what you are trying to do is destroy this black woman for doing her job.
I have heard your calls for no justice, no peace. However, your peace is sincerely needed as I work to deliver justice on behalf of Freddie Gray.
Maryland was a force to be reckoned with. I was assuming this was all because of Freddie Gray, but it actually is much deeper than that.
Baltimore's top prosecutor, a woman named Marilyn Mosby, was indicted yesterday in the Eastern District of Maryland for perjury. Couldn't help but think about Donald Trump.
This is what you got to deal with when you are a black woman fighting for just causes in America.
Yeah, but just taking on the police, period. She's stepping on their toes.
They want to cross her out of the system so she can't stand up for the preacher. Reached in the pool and grabbed me and pulled me out.
Imagine if this were you. You would want people to stand in your corner.
I lost my car. I lost my job. I lost my marriage. And I almost lost my mind for a little while.
It's just so much right now, Lord, and I'm just saying, why are you putting all of this on me? I'm about to break.